What you just said is one of the most insanely idiotic things I have ever heard. At no point in your rambling, incoherent response were you even close to anything that could be considered a rational thought. Everyone in this room is now dumber for having listened to it.
You don't know what that order is, Mr. Trash. I'd show you, but I'm too old. I'm too tired. I'm too fucking blind. If I were the man I was 5 years ago, I'd take a flamethrower to this place.
Do you understand the words that are coming out of my mouth?
You want answers?
I think I'm entitled.
You want answers?
I want the truth!
You can't handle the truth!
Every day you know it's a good day because the truth shall always set you free. This is Tim. Fuck your sensitivity. The mad ramblings of a Gen Xer. Oh, I want to talk about the release of the Epstein files. And I want to discuss the city killer Asteroid 2024 YR4. It was scheduled a rocketing towards Earth, they thought at this point in time. But it seemed to it has changed directions, or it's changed trajectory, this killer asteroid, and it's heading towards the moon. And I not only want to talk about that, I want to talk about two movies that came out about the same time, about the same subject. But let's get to the Epstein files, because I'm curious what's going to be released first, or what's coming first, the Epstein files or the killer asteroid. The House voted 427-1 to release the files. The lone no vote was Representative Clay Higgins, and he had a thought process why he voted no. And I kind of understand it, and legally it makes sense, because you got to remember the Department of Justice has gone to 3 separate judges to try to get these files released. But the judges keep saying no, because there's grand jury testimony in some of these files. So they are protecting the innocent. They're protecting the sources. They're protecting the victims. And I get that. And I get that. But if these are files that the government compiled and these aren't grand jury files, okay, I'm fine with that. And if you read exactly what Representative Clay Higgins said, and of course he's out of Louisiana, as written, this bill reveals the injured thousands of innocent people, witnesses, people who provided alibis, family members, etc. If enacted in its current form, this type of broad reveal of the criminal investigative files released into a rabid media will absolutely result in innocent people being hurt, not by my vote. I agree. The Oversight Committee is conducting a thorough investigation and has already released well over 60,000 pages of documents from the Epstein files, they're saying. This effort will continue in the manner to provide all due protections to the innocents. If the Senate amends the bill to properly address privacy of the victims and other whose names have not been criminally implicated, then I will vote for the bill when it comes back to the House. So Speaker Mike Johnson told reporters at his weekly press conference that was yesterday that he would vote in favor of the bill despite concerns that he saw limited protection of the victims and other innocent people whose names shall be released against their will or their wishes. I love this, because now the Democrats are kind of like, they're kind of reeling a little bit because of the fact that Trump came out and said, yeah, fucking release it. Go ahead. I have nothing to hide. A lawyer who represents 70 of the Epstein victims spoke about how the fact that Trump was the only one in 2019 to help in his investigation.
President Trump is that he is the only person who in 2009, when I served a lot of subpoenas on a lot of people, or at least gave notice to some pretty connected people that I wanted to talk to them, he is the only person who picked up the phone and said, let's just talk. I'll give you as much time as you want. I'll tell you what you need to know, and was very helpful in the information that he gave, and gave no indication whatsoever that he was involved in anything untoward whatsoever, but had good information that checked out and that helped us, and that we didn't have to take a deposition of him.
That was in 2009?
That was in 2009.
Now, sorry, I said 2019. That was in 2009. That was, like I said, that was an attorney for 70 of the victims. And then I love it because now you even have the likes of CNN starting to backtrack a little bit. Well, if you could hear it.
We do want to be clear. The president, Trump, did not receive or send any of the messages, which largely predated his time as president. He's not been accused of any criminal wrongdoing in connection with Epstein or Maxwell. The White House.
So that's basically CNN saying major clarification saying that Trump did not receive or send any of the email messages. And there was no connection. Evidently people are starting to run for cover as potentially these files can be released or will be released. And I love it because the emails that I love that the Democrats put out the other day, and I loved it. I love our new press secretary. She's not new anymore. She's been here for a year. Basically, the Democrats, when they released this email that I thought was damning, retracted the victim's name. Well, evidently that woman, of course, had passed away. So the Republicans unretracted it or redacted it or whatever the word is going to be, and basically said, you sent this email. And I love it because you have all these pundits like Jasmine Crockett. I love Jasmine Crockett because she's a chameleon. She could be a hood rat 1 minute, and then the next minute she's a scholar. But even she's like, well, why are they rejecting the name if they have nothing to hide? Well, baby, the Democrats redacted the name, not the Republicans. Oops. So I believe, like I said, this has got to get passed. This has got to get signed. This is just one step in the process. And Trump said that he would sign any bill that came up in front of his desk. So I find it interesting. Then the DOJ will have 30 days to comply with this bill if it gets signed or this legislation. But I don't know. This is just one step. But I love it because you have all these. You have Rome Khanna of California. Oh, we need transparency. Okay, Trump said, go ahead, release him. DOJ has tried 3 times, but 3 judges who happen to be all Democratic appointed judges. People are like, well, yeah, you know what? People are fucking scrambling. People are scrambling. And it's just one of these things that you watch this and you look at this and you're like, this is just fucking crazy. This is crazy. There's just so many things wrong with the Democratic Party. I mean, I really don't even know where to start. I really don't. It's crazy. And I love the fact that the Democrats had 2 full years under Biden. Complete control of all branches of the government. Could have released these files at any point in time. And if you go back and think about this, Epstein was a Democrat. He donated heavily to Democrats, and hundreds of Democrats went to his island. Democrats basically held on to these files for years. Democrats then blocked the release of the New York files, and a Democratic judge blocked the release of the grand jury files. But it's all Trump's fault. You watch this stuff and you're fucking. It's just fucking crazy. It's just insane. I want to play this full minute of this clip because this just made me laugh.
Lots of news, particularly on the Jeffrey Epstein front. Yep, Congress has released a whole bunch more of emails.
This was from November 15th.
The Democrats tried to make hay, but it hasn't stuck to Donald Trump. You know where it's sticking? The Democrats. And today the story really significantly boomeranged around. Why is that? First, Ghislaine Maxwell's lawyer accused Democrat Jamie Raskin of working with prison officials to leak confidential communications from his client. Those prison officials apparently have been disciplined, but that is only the beginning of it. Just a few moments ago, Attorney General Pam Bondi announced that she is naming the acting U.S. attorney in New York City, Jay Clayton, to investigate Democrats' relationships with Jeffrey Epstein and whether any of them rose to the level of criminality. Why? Because so many of the emails today didn't involve Donald Trump or Republicans. That's right. It involved all those Democrats. And this time around, the idea that Democrats would project on Republicans ain't going to cut it. This Justice Department is going to go full bore into that. That is a big, big decision in the weaponization era. And it's another of many signs that I think Pam Bondi is moving towards approving the notion that there was a grand conspiracy against Donald Trump and his followers and conservatives, and it needs to be treated as such.
There was a grand conspiracy. We all know this. This is I know that, like I said, I just love the clip. But this is from the Real Voices of America. I love the clip because it's true. There was a grand conspiracy against Donald Trump and his followers. You literally had agencies attacking only conservative groups. It's just you hope it gets better. And we hope it gets better to the fact that the killer asteroid is coming and may hit the moon in 2032. That, of course, is the asteroid 2420 UR4, which previously thought was proposing a threat to Earth, but now it could potentially be striking the moon. I don't know. That seems bad to me. This is going to impact Earth. Initially thought it was going to impact Earth in December of 2032, which was around 3%. And the past projections were saying that the asteroid's chance of hitting the Earth have basically sunk lower and lower. Despite the low probability, scientists are already considering extreme possible prevention strategies, such as aiming at and deflecting or destroying the asteroid before its potential impact, which they're saying it's not going to impact, so why are we going to try to destroy it? But now they're saying it might hit the moon, and that could be bad if it hits the moon. So just like all those sci-fi movies that you've seen over the years, there are testing ideas, and some of these ideas are not limited to using nuclear devices that could deflect or destroy 2024 UR4, and scientists are working on that approach soon. To deflect the asteroid, science would have to detonate a nuclear device around a strategically selected surface. Not looking at you, Armageddon. Obliterating one of the faces and changing the course through the creation of thrust. Not looking at you, Deep Impact. Meanwhile, to destroy the asteroid, science would shoot a nuclear device straight towards its core, smashing it to smithereens. According to the study's author, this is a guy's study, nuclear deflection isn't feasible for 2024 UR4, whether scientists reuse old spaceships or construct a new one. Deflection mission were assessed to appear to be impractical, the team says in its stated paper, thanks to a lack of information about the asteroid structure. So this is just a team there's just a team, not even of scientists, of people. I believe this was from the Discovery magazine. The better option, they're saying, would be that the team from Discovery magazine states it's nuclear robust disruption or destruction to blast the asteroid apart before it approaches with two nuclear devices. Just one of these devices should properly destroy the asteroid. The author also says of this study from Discovery magazine, suggesting in this paper that leaving a second device is a backup in case it's needed. With the launch between now I love this because, like I said, this we're going back into science fiction here. The launch would have to be somewhere between late 2029 and 2031. Dun dun dun. Excuse me. I'm gonna go with Armageddon, and I like the idea they had in the one version that they were trying to come up with these ideas, and it was solar sails that they were going to put these solar sails on and have it, just kind of float away like a boat. I like that idea, and of course you had and I love it because you had the crazy general, who of course was in Platoon. Was it Keith David or David Keith? I can never remember exactly what his name is. Who wanted to just shoot every single nuke they had at it. And what did the scientist said? Who was the smartest man on the planet? That's not going to work. I know I'm not trying to make light of this subject because it could be potentially damning. It could be potentially impactful to this country and the world with this, with these types of asteroids. Because close collisions are usually within 1 million miles of these asteroids, but this is something that literally has a 3% chance, and 3% chance of me with an asteroid hitting Earth is just crazy. As a Gen Xer, of course, I can remember the movies Armageddon and Deep Impact. Armageddon was this blockbuster, of course. Bruce Willis, Ben Affleck, it was this blockbuster special effects movie. And then also at the same time, Deep Impact came out with Tay Leone. And it was Tay Leone and actors from multiple TV series like ER and LA Law. So while the blockbuster was Armageddon, Deep Impact was kind of like an asylum film. And you have to really go back and watch these things, because when you watch Deep Impact, you see the star power, you see the drawl of the film, the excitement. You know, it builds the story in the beginning and leads up to the crescendo on the end. You know, with Harry Stamper, you know, sacrificing himself so AJ can live. You know, you have moments in this film that are like generational defining moments in cinema for Gen X fans, or just people of the Gen X age. And you laugh because Deep Impact was always an afterthought. Deep Impact was that movie that if you were up late and it was on TBS, you would stop and watch it for a while. And then you would get halfway through it and like, why am I watching this garbage with these fucking commercials? And the difference between the special effects between the films was kind of phenomenal. Like I said, Deep Impact wasn't this film that was just, you know, on this shoestring budget. I mean, this was a big budget, high dollar film. And when it came out, like I said, this budget was $80 million. Now I'm not telling you that it didn't make money, but it still grossed $349 million. And you did have the likes of like Robert Duvall in it, Elijah Wood, Morgan Freeman as the president. You know, because it was that extinction level event, or ELE. But it just wasn't the same. And while it made money, it was nowhere near Armageddon. And Armageddon, like I said, was this film that at times was generationally different, because the fact that how many people quote Armageddon? How many people can tell you more about Armageddon than anyone, you know, than any other movie? You know, and Armageddon came out, and Armageddon had a $140 million budget, but also made $553 million worldwide. I mean, think about it. You had Bruce Willis, Billy Bob Thornton, Liv Tyler, Ben Affleck, Will Payton, Keith David. Like I said, Steve Buscemi's in it as well. You had a great cast. You had a great cast. You really did. And it's one of those times you have these competing films where both were successful, but in some regards, you think that Deep Impact was more of just the redheaded stepchild to Armageddon. And now we have to potentially live through both of these films. Oh, it's always fun to jump on the mic and say hello and do some things. We're going to have some special guests coming up in the next week or so make sure you stay tuned for that. And just remember, the truth shall always set you free. This is Fuck Your Sensitivity, the Mad Ramblings of a Gen Xer, and I'm out of here.